Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Scots on the Run podcast, where we take a behind-the-scenes look at what's happening in the Gordon College cross-country and track and field programs. In this episode, we are recapping New England Division III Regional Championships. Daniel Chewning is back on the podcast. He was on our panel last week after conference championships, so we're going to get to him in just a moment. But first, as always, Coach Miela is here with us as well. How are you?
I'm good. Dude, I've been tired the last few days. I'm finally catching a second wind. It's that, or it's the late morning coffee. I don't know, but we're feeling better.
I can't imagine why you're tired.
I know, dude. Oh yeah, conference. It was a 2-day meet and it was at home, but that was an emotional roller coaster. And then regionals, we left Thursday, came back late Saturday, and that was just a few days ago. And then now leaving tomorrow for a last chance meet for a few athletes. So the train doesn't stop much.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
no.
Yeah. And so, Chewy, we have you on an indoor?
Yeah, after the 200.
This is your third time this year on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, because I don't know if we've ever had a triple feature for one individual on 1 year. I mean, maybe Rachel. I guess
true?
Rachel.
Yeah.
But I mean, we tried not to invite Rachel every weekend because we certainly probably could.
We could, yeah.
Yeah.
She's the goat.
Rachel hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The Rachel Brennan show.
That's right.
No, seriously.
That's what this could turn into very easily. But.
Seriously.
Yeah. But yeah, let's dive right in. So Chewy, you're on this time.
Yep.
Because I think we didn't get a chance to get into this when we did the panel. You did mention that he had, I remember in the pod last week, you were like, he was looking like Michael Phelps.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at conference, you probably had one of the best days a Gordon athlete, not just in the program, but probably a Gordon athlete has ever had in this conference when you won the long jump, 4x1, 100, 200, 4x4, broke school records in the 4x1 and the 4x4, and really the 100 and 200.
There's less wind.
A little less wind. Then you come off of that weekend. You had this big, I would call it an emotional high, and then physically, again, you really put it all on the line, and then you followed it up. And I remember texting you, and I was just like, hey, like, are you down to do this again, basically? Because you made it in the long jump for regionals.
Mm-hmm.
You made it in the 100, you made it in the 200, and then, we were talking about doing the 4x1, 4x4. So it was pretty much the same weekend. The only difference is the 100, you also had to run prelims on Friday. So pretty much you did the same weekend, and you added another 100-meter race in there.
Yeah.
You said you were down to do it. Personally, as a coach, I was concerned about pushing you so hard in back-to-back weekends, and clearly there was no reason to be concerned because, again, you ran school record in all conditions in the 100, school record in all conditions in 200, broke the 4x1 again, broke the 4x4 again, all region in the 4x4, 100, 200. And Ben, make sure I got this right. You got 5th in the 100 and 8th in the 200 in the region. How'd you do that? But it's just like, how did you go from again, because I do think that's just kind of incredible to have such a great conference meet and then just to say, yeah, I'm going to go and get after it again.
And broke both your relay records again.
Right.
You and the entire team.
I do think that it's really hard to say, okay, we just did this. Now we're just a week later, we're going to step it up a notch. When again, I think that there was maybe even a little less emotion at a regional championship because we had so much invested in the conference championship.
Yeah.
Sorry for me talking so much, but
no,
again, what do you think attributed to taking it up a notch?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't really know. I think I think a big part of it was I remember Monday I had off, which was nice. Wait, did I have Monday off?
Yeah, we took it. Yeah, we didn't do anything on Monday.
And then Tuesday, do you remember what workout we did Tuesday? It was
you went over to jumps. You did a little bit of jump work.
But I barely did anything because I was still in a lot of pain.
I just had you do the plyo work and the
yeah.
work. You basically
so I literally just did plyo work, and then Wednesday I came in and barely did anything.
Yeah, that was restoration.
Yeah, it was just restoration stuff. And so I think...
We basically did nothing.
Basically, I recovered for 3 days.
Yeah.
I remember I used the legs a few times. I was super careful about what I was eating because I had to be if I was going to perform well. Because, to be honest, I didn't know I was going to make finals for the 100. So I was just
Well,
all right, I get to do
I knew it was,
everything again.
and I knew it was possible. That was part of my
I mean,
thought process.
I was ranked like 30th going into it.
Right. Well, and then, yes, you were. And then, some people, not everybody entered, but
True.
even still, I think when the entries came out, you were still like ranked like 14th or something.
True.
Because you were ranked at 10.9, and then you went out and ran
yeah.
10.76, and then in finals you ran 10.79, I believe. But yeah, I mean, as far as your training goes, like Saturday was a big day for you at conference. 2 days, we gave you 2 really light days. Tuesday we didn't do much, but we did just enough to like stimulate your central nervous system.
For sure.
Make sure, like, remind your body that you're like a powerful, springy athlete.
Yep.
And then we took another 2 days off. So we really didn't do much. I guess you could say that's part of the like peak phase of your training model, right? But I mean, how were you feeling going to your race on Friday?
Going to my race on Friday, it's so interesting because at this point in the season, it's just like, you're right, we didn't do much work, and it's really easy for me to go into a meet after having like a week of hard work because I'm like, I worked hard,
Sure.
I get to race now.
Yeah.
But what's tough about like races like on Friday, it was like I didn't do anything this week.
Sure.
And so I think mentally, I was pretty nervous, especially because like after having a meet like conference, I was like, crap, I got to go out and I got to compete. Like I got to do well. I wasn't sure if I was going to make all region in the 100, but I had my eyes set on the 2. Like I really wanted to go all region in the 2. But on Friday, I mean, I remember showing up, like warming up. My body felt pretty good after all those days of recovery.
Sure.
And I remember looking at the heat sheets, and I was next to the 10-4 kid.
Yeah, from like Babson or something.
And that, I think it was Southern Maine or something.
Southern Maine, yeah.
And that fired me up because I was like, great. Like, there's no pressure now because I have the fastest dude at this meet right next to me. So I just like, I get to stay with him as long as I can.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine. And I think, all right, honestly, I think that was the best start. Like in that race, that was the best start I've had.
Sure.
I felt, because I stayed with that kid for the first like 40 meters.
Yep.
And then after that, like I ate his dust, like it was bad. But like for the first 40 meters, I was like, crap, like I'm with this guy. And then he just smoked me. But still, having somebody that fast next to me was a huge part of the reason why I was able to run the way I did. Yeah, I think that kid's going to nationals.
I think he's one of the top ranked guys, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know. I was pretty hyped going into Friday. And then for long jump, I don't know. Like after conference, I've had my fair share of shin pain.
Sure.
So that sucked. And the first jump was okay. Like me and Coach Decker, we had like a plan where like for my first jump, I wasn't going to be as aggressive. I was going to make sure I was behind the board and make sure I got a mark. And so I did that. And then afterwards, like I moved up just a little bit because I wanted to just go for it.
Yeah.
Ended up fouling both my jumps, which like that sucked. That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because the last one was close.
Last one, it was legal, and the official got it wrong. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'll say that for the record on the pod.
Yeah.
Official got that one wrong, and it was a good jump too, man.
It was a great jump. Obviously, you don't know what it could have been, but it felt like a PR jump.
Yeah.
Felt like a PR jump. So
there would have been something.
it would have been.
Well, yeah. So last year,
Mm-hmm.
it's funny. We didn't run. You didn't run many 200s your first year.
Mm-mm.
Did you run 200 at all your first year?
Not at all.
That's crazy.
Right.
So last year you ran. Looks like you ran 2 200s. No, 3 200s.
Yeah.
And we didn't run a lot of 200s last year. It looks like your best was just under your 22.87 indoors. That was your best last year. You opened up this year 22.08 in indoor, and then this past weekend you're in 21.65. Do you remember? I got this out in front of me. Do you remember what you ran in your first 100?
In 1180, I think.
1180 at the Tufts Snowflake Classic.
You know how I remember?
No, I don't.
Because, well, the first race that I had, I remember I was super upset because Henry and Matt both made finals. It was the first time they made finals together. Yeah. And I remember sitting there, and I was like, these stupid people. I was like, I'm going to run. I'm going to run in a finals 100 meter with both of them.
Yeah, dude. Well, that year you ended up running 11:42, and then you got third at what was then the CCC championship with 11:39. I think you got third that year, right? Mm-hmm. And Henry was then mad because you beat him.
I know.
You beat him that year.
I mean, we got the picture right there.
I know.
That.
I know. And that was you didn't beat him by much.
No.
So anyways, so your first 100 ever, your freshman year was 1180. You just ran 1176 this past Friday. Tell us a little bit more about that progression, obviously in the 200 and 100. I mean, you've really come along as a sprinter. How's that transformation been? How's that happened?
Yeah. I think, my first year, the difference between going 1180 and 11.3 was probably just form. Because, like I showed up, never really did sprint training ever. Like I said, I was just playing basketball.
Running like a basketball player,
of course. Right? So it was just kind of like sloppy, raw athleticism. And it worked. 11, I was sub 12. That was great. But the difference between me being 11.8 and 11.3 was just form. Because once I started getting my form down, started getting some real sprint training in, I had a good foundation. Mm-hmm. And then after I had that foundation, my sophomore year, I was able to just work on that. So from there, I was able to work on my start. That's when we first started introducing wickets. So I was able to get my knees up better.
Yep.
Yeah, I was getting stronger, so I was able to push my foot into the ground with more force. I was working on ankle stiffness, all the things. I was able to learn all the things. And then honestly, this summer just transformed me from I was already one of our I don't know, I just got a lot better. I got a lot faster. I came back quick.
Yeah, you did.
And I was able to I think this year I finally felt good about my start, and then I also finally felt like I was in good enough shape to maintain the speed that I knew I could hit.
Yeah.
So, because I don't know, I think that's kind of just been the progression.
Yeah. No, I it has felt from a coach's perspective. That first year, it came in February. I think you just ran. Yeah, you did high jump, long jump, 4x1, 100. That year actually I have that up here too. You got third in long jump, mm-hmm. right? So you got third in long jump, you got third in the 100, and then you anchored that 4x1, right? And that we thought was dude, that kid just balled out. Right?
Yeah.
Last year, we said this on last week's pod, that last year's conference was not a great showing for you. Mm-hmm. We wanted more. But I would say last year was that's when you actually, your first year, you just kind of blind ignorance, right? You just didn't know. Last year it was a lot of learning, right? Going through a full year of training. And then I think you came back this year and you knew what to expect every phase of the training, every phase of the year, and you really attacked it well. And you said so, I think you said this on the pod too, guys like Henry, some of these more, maybe more experienced in this sport specifically, kind of showed you hey, some of this recovery stuff really does help you maximize your abilities.
Yeah.
And so that's been crazy to see. And as a coach, as much as I'd love to, take credit for your progress, it really does. I think we do smart things in our training, but at the same time, what we're just talking about here, right? The things that you've learned, the effort you've put in beyond practice is really what's made the difference. And so that's always fun to see as a coach when it's okay, cool. I'm doing my part, and now everything that you're doing is really just helping you kind of take it to the next level.
I was about to say, you're also not giving yourself enough credit, because we also have on this podcast Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year.
You make it pretty easy to be able to I was looking through the end of the year survey, and it was is opportunity for growth easily accessible on this team, and of course it is.
Yeah.
Half the battle is you get as much out of the sport as you put in, mm-hmm. for sure. But mm-hmm. you make that so easy because you just provide all of these great ways for us to get better. Well, and so give yourself more credit.
I appreciate you saying that. Back to you. I do have a few things. I want you to take us through the 4x4. Yeah, I got one more question after that, but I want you. We got 8th in the 4x4, so that 4x4 team went all region, broke the school record. Got to give a shout. Henry Lonstein had himself a day as well.
Yeah.
He had a great leg. So Roland Sanderson had his best leg. Henry had his best leg of the year. And then you had yours. I want you to take me through from when you received the baton to the finish in the 4. Well, actually, take me through just the whole day. Warm up. How were you feeling before the 4x4 and then...
At regionals or conference?
At regionals.
Okay. I was feeling dead. My body was hurting.
Sure.
I
Exactly.
I was feeling mentally out of it. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, that was probably the lowest I felt, like, mentally and physically. Like, the most tired I felt physically and mentally since, like, I don't even know. Like, it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Sure.
So I was like, I don't know, I was kind of just, like, sitting in that. And, like, usually when I, like, get to a place like that, it makes me feel down. I'm like, crap, like, I can't let Henry down. And so, because you came over, well, actually, like, I was kind of feeling like that before you came over and talked to us. And then you came over and you said, guys, like, we need to run this race well for Henry. Like, it's like, because regionals is tough because there isn't a lot of, like, you're right, there's not a lot of, like, emotional support into, like, the races that we're running. Like, it's
we have a
cool.
Smaller team, smaller groups
like,
there.
It's great if we do well, but if we don't do well, like, nobody cares. You know?
Right.
And
the expectation, it's all gravy, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
If you do well, it's awesome. If you don't, like, the expectations are a little different than at our conference meet. Correct.
Of course. And so I didn't have the pressure for this that I would have felt at, like, a conference meet to drive me. So when you came over and you said, like, listen, this last race, like, let's run it for Henry because he is, like the kind of person that, like, shaped our team, you know?
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, like, you're right. Like, that kind of, like, that flipped a switch for me. And me and Henry always joke about, like the worse you feel before a race, the better that we do. Because, like, it's so every single time we go to run a 200, we both look at each other and we're like, yo, like, I'm tired now. You know?
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. Yeah. And so, like, and we were going into this 4x4 the same way. We were like, you know what? We're tired. All that means is that we're going to run our best. And so I remember, like, warming up with Peter, Henry, and Roland for the last time. And it was kind of just, we were just like, well, like, we're going to give it everything we got.
Sure.
And it's going to be, like, we're just going to lay it all out there. And what sucks about being the fourth leg is, like, I have to watch everybody run.
Sure.
You know? And so, like, the gun goes off and I'm still warming up. You know? So I'm,
You're
like,
still,
sitting
like,
there.
trying to stay loose.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, I'm hitting A-skips. And, like, talk about anticipation. Like, that's always crazy. But something that was really helpful was, like, Henry came down at the end of his 4. I don't know if you saw him. Nothing but a grin on his face.
There's a great picture of it.
Is there?
Yeah.
Good. Because I saw that and I was like, you know what? Like, no matter what I run, like, I'm going to do it for, like, specifically for Henry, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And so, like, Peter, like, Henry it was his first time running sub 50.
Yep.
Fired me up.
Yep.
Split super, super well. Peter went out and ran a strong race. By the time I got the baton, we were behind Hartford. We were behind 3 teams, right?
I think so. I don't know. I forget where we were, but yeah, we were.
I grabbed the baton, and so for the first about 200 meters, I was like, I just gotta, like, stay with these guys.
Yeah.
That was kind of, like, my game plan. So I stuck behind those dudes because I know that I have a strong last 200 meter, or, like, especially, like, my last 100, like, I can maintain my speed pretty well. And so I thought I was hoping I'd be able to overtake. And so I stuck with them for the first 2, and then I tried to build up speed in that third 100, and then for the last 100, my one goal was, like, I have to edge out Hartford here. Like, we have to beat Hartford.
Yep.
Because they got us in conference, man. Not in the 4x4, but they beat us in conference.
They did on the men's side.
They beat us in conference. And I was like, I can't let them feel the satisfaction of beating us in the 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
So we got them.
We did.
We got them. And I also there are some pictures from that race, and I love pictures from the 4x4 because I just look like I'm in pain the whole time. It's because I am. But yeah, it was probably my favorite 4x4 that we've done because everybody going into it was super tired, and yet, like, we all overcame that and ran our best race.
Right. Well, and I'm pulling up the I want to because I want to get it right because I think I remember what it was off the top of my head, but I want to make sure I get it. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you and Henry, we talked about this last week. You know, like how you guys have been training partners. You guys push each other a lot. You were the only 2 to go sub 50. Henry went sub 50 for the first time. He went 49.58. You went 48.81. And so I think that was your first time going under 49.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of, I thought that was incredible. And I've said this to people before on the teams, like, you don't have to feel great to be great. Mm-hmm. Again, I think I came over and said what I said because I knew that at that point, you especially, I knew you were going to be feeling it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the other guys, you know, they had a little less miles on their legs for that day, but you you had a long weekend to that point, and you have earned yourself some much deserved rest over the next few weeks. But yeah, I just thought, geez, like if I'm Chewy right now, I don't know what I got left in the tank.
Yeah.
So the fact that you did that, you edged out the Hartford guy, you ended up putting us into 8th, ultimately got us in 8th that day, which got not only you but your teammates all region for the week. And I don't know, I just think that was certainly a great way to cap off your year. And that's just it. It's like you said, like regionals can be a little less emotion because there's less of a team goal on a regional weekend, right? But again, it's a good reminder that if that Hartford guy did get you, you just end with a little less of a. You just don't
It's
end
not
with a
as
good taste in your
satisfying.
mouth. Yeah, exactly. So this is something that you really can end the year on and be like, yeah, that was the exclamation point to the season. And,
Absolutely.
I want to ask you one more question before we go. It's just like, what was your highlight of the year? The entire year. Now that you're, like I said, you're on to resting, and before you kind of transition into start looking to next year, what was your highlight for the year, man?
That's a great question. I mean, there's so many great moments this season. Like my first 200 this season was super, super cool because it was a lot better than I thought I was going to be able to do. Even Myrtle, like long jumping 6'7", I think it was 6'7" for the first time. That was big because that was like the biggest PR I've had in long jump my whole career. And I mean I don't know, but I do think like if I had to pick a moment, I don't even think I was like necessarily like with our team. Like I just remember like I looked down on my phone and my dad, like it was the day after conference, my dad sent me a long text and it was like he basically was like, you had a really hard day at conference last year and I just want to let you know like I'm so proud of how you took that, worked your tail off like that summer and then like all of the off season into like the winter season. And you just made sure to turn it around for the next one because that takes a lot of intentionality, it takes a lot of discipline.
Right.
And he's like, and he said, I forget. It was like just along those lines. Sure. And at that moment, it kind of just like that's when it like hit me, like everything that I did, because I don't know, when you're in it, it's really easy to kind of just like put your head down and work. But I kind of was able to like take a step back and kind of just like see the progression that I've made and just like kind of what I was able to achieve, especially at conference, and that was super cool. And it was cool that it was from my dad.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So
and I totally agree. Like that puts it in perspective, and because I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of with you as well. Is just you bounced back, and you didn't let that define you. You actually, and I say this all the time. Like how you respond to that is going to be how you respond to other challenges after you graduate from here, right? I'm sorry. I know we already talked. I do want to ask one more question.
Yeah. By all means.
You've had this success, right? We just talked about, you've bounced back, and you've had, again, 5 gold medals at our conference championship, a phenomenal finish at regionals. What motivates you moving forward now, right? Like, because you got 1 year left.
Yeah.
What's going to motivate you to take that next step, or how do you motivate yourself going into next year?
A few things. One, I think the top sprint and jump competitor in our conference didn't compete. And that's unfortunate.
It's kind of like when the Celtics beat the Lakers in 08, and then when the Celtics beat the Magic in 09, it was kind of like, yeah, okay.
Exactly.
The Lakers beat the Magic, I mean.
Lakers beat the Magic. Yeah, Lakers beat the Magic. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. And so it was like, all right.
Yeah.
Because I remember, and I lived through that.
Yeah.
But even then, it was so less satisfying because it was like, yeah, but. And then until the Lakers got a chance to play this, until they got a chance to play again, it really didn't matter that the Lakers beat the Magic. So anyways, that's where we're at.
That's a big motivation for our conference. And then also just like we've never had a male sprinter get even close to nationals. Like that's, and I've got ways to go. Like I'm pretty far off. However, I'm the closest that anybody in our school's
100%.
had. And I don't know, like senior year's about leaving a legacy, you know, and that's kind of what I want to do. Like that's super cool.
Well, I didn't think Amherst would be as close as she is. We're going to last chance meet this weekend. She's 21st in the nation right now. Hoping she can stay in that top 22, right? I didn't think. I mean, frankly, I knew Amherst was capable, but given how strong the field is for her, if you told me she ran 11:86, I would have said, cool. Like, we're sitting 15th in the nation, and we're in a good spot because 11:92 made it last year. So all that to say, like, given how strong it is, I didn't think Amherst would be in the position she's in right now. Like, she continues to blow my mind in like the level she's taken it to. But that's also as a coach, and I hope that gives you as an athlete just that belief that, hey, dude, why limit ourselves here? Like, you can do that if you put the work in, right? And I believe we can set you up for success, if you're willing to make the commitment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You Lakers fans are spoiled, man.
How about it, huh? I know you're Sixers guy.
I'm just trying to get out of the second round.
You're just trying to get out of Joel Embiid's contract.
Yeah, well, that was
Seriously.
I had to. Henry was right. I was sitting on that dig at Paul George.
Oh yeah,
taking time off from the podcast to try to win a championship, which worked out for us, but
right.
was a silly thing for him to say, I think. But before we go,
hit us with some other. Why don't you hit us with some highlights?
Sure.
Ben?
Yeah, the 4x8 relays on both sides.
Yep.
Jacob Dyer, Evan Hand, Luca Halloran, Joseph Schultz, almost breaking the school record, 8:13.18. There, they took 15th place, and then the women's 4x8 did break the school record. Jenna Lindsay, Caroline Roberts, Jasmine Casey, and Carolyn Day, the runner that isn't an 800-meter runner apparently, but is second in the conference and second all-time, and part of a school record 4x8 relay. 10:01.51 and 14th in the region there. So
and they broke school record there. Yes. That was after Carolyn got third in the 5K the day before.
Third in 10K.
10K.
Yes.
Excuse me, 10K. And then Olivia Garrity, hammer throw champion. Actually, that's the first outdoor track and field regional champion we've ever had, I believe. Because Rachel, just for whatever reason, she's always kind of been in these races where there's been that one person in nationals that's kind of pushed her. So yeah, regional champion there. Amherst got second in the 100. I do got to give a shout. Jenna Lindsay.
Yeah.
Absolute dog.
Dog.
We didn't know what she could do. She led off that 4x8. So I just got to break down. Jenna Lindsay was on our 4x1 at conference that ended up breaking the school record and was a conference champion. She got second in the 400, in the open 400. Only second to her teammate Amaris, who's a stud, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
She got fifth in the 200 at conference with a PR, and then anchored our 4x4 that got second that day. So that was her conference a week before. Then she comes and breaks the school record in the 4x8. So she goes from the 4x1 all the way up to the 4x8. She's got school records in all the relays. She's impressive, and she's only a freshman. Pretty stoked about her.
Yeah. That's actually nuts.
Isn't that crazy?
That's actually
range.
So crazy.
That's range. And then so she goes from the 100 to the 800. Rachel goes from the 15 all the way up to the 10K. I mean, really, with those two, I don't even know if we need anybody else at this point.
Yeah. And Carolyn's going from the 800 to the 10K.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. We got a lot of bases covered. With
and she did well in the 10K also. Personal record 36.
That's right.
56,
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a great day all around. Olivia Murch also in the steeplechase. I know that wasn't quite the time that we were hoping for.
Well, it wasn't that many people.
It wasn't a great race.
Yeah.
It was a slow race, generally speaking, but she still went out and
she
competed.
fought, man.
Yeah. So great day, and as you mentioned at the start of the episode, we've got a handful of athletes competing this weekend in a last chance meet, and then we'll have nationals after that.
Yep, and hopefully we're bringing a decent crew to nationals. So that's the plan. That's the goal. I'm not afraid to say that is our goal. I don't think it jinxes anything. I think I think we have national caliber athletes on this team. I think they just have to go out and put it together, and I think that can happen this weekend. I'm hoping it happens this weekend for sure.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We will catch you up on what happens this weekend and hopefully at nationals as well on the next episode. We'll see you then.
Let's get after it.
Sweet.